I'm John Pinder and this is my S14. Started in my mum's garage, really. My first car was a Vauxhall Nova. Just started doing little bits of bodywork and it massively got bigger. Yeah, 4 or 5 Novas, a Calibra, and then onto the Jap cars. Yeah, I'm a sucker for an old car. It is what it is. I see them sat in gardens and I want to knock on the door and try to buy it and fix it, but you can't have them all, can you? You can't save them all. I bought an S14. That was my first car. Totally rotten, absolute death trap. But it got me into the Jap stuff. Blew that up, then bought another one, and that became my first drift car. And that's where the whole love of the S bodies came from. I always found that the bigger Nissans, the Skylines and stuff like that were too big. They just felt real boaty, and I'm only a little dude, so I didn't want a big, massive car. And the 14s just seem nice. They're balanced well. Yeah, I think they're a good car. They felt right to me, so I always stayed with the S chassis. Always stayed. The engine and running gear out of this one came from a car I bought at an auction, a Mannheim auction. I bought the car for 900 quid. I knew the engine and box and everything were good in it, but the rest of it was just rotten, just totally rotten. So this came from a friend of mine called Adam. He'd put far too much money into it. It was 500 odd horsepower and he couldn't sell it for enough, so he stripped it. I bought this shell for 500 quid as a really barely rolling shell. And then yeah, 5.5 years of building, blood, tears, everything, just to make it how she is. We put the engine in, found a load of rot in the engine bay, started chopping that out. That led to the front tubs, that led to the fuse box being relocated behind the glove box, and then yeah, as it always does, it just starts from there. I couldn't really find the kit I wanted on any of the sites on eBay, or no one made anything that fit right or looked right. So out came the filler and the foam, and I just started building, really. Yeah, a lot of building, a lot of time, making different versions, taking them off, smashing them up, starting again. I think I went through probably 40 odd tubs of filler, making how I wanted it, and then I had to learn how to mould it, how to make them a nice fitting kit off 40 odd tubs of filler. I've been a bodyman now for 20 years, so the sanding and the shaping and that's natural now, but yeah, doing all the fiberglassing and stuff was a learning curve, we shall say. I wanted to build it as a drift car because I've done it before. I love it, it's fun, but it kind of escalated, and now I think I'm the only one that wants to drift it. Everyone else don't want me to drift it. It's too nice, but that's what it's built for. The only bits I haven't done is the roof and the doors and the tail. Well, no, the tailgate's been done as well. Yeah, I just wanted something different. I wanted something wide, and I didn't want to just buy a generic kit and stick that on. The front bumper's a modified Rocket Bunny one, which I've then took a mould of again. But everything else is literally custom made in-house, well, on the farm. I don't know, I never did any drawings, I never did anything like that. I just saw what I wanted in my head and just set about it. So the colour took, I think, 3 years to finally decide on. I'd done the cage in the candy red and the bay in the candy red, and I was set with them. But I didn't want the car in candy red. I wanted it to be kind of contrasting. I wanted to do it in it was a Ford Spirit Blue. But then everyone else at the farm was like, no, there's better colours, and Anthony came up with this one, which is BMW San Marino Blue. And as soon as I saw it on a car, that was it. That was the colour. I didn't want it too leery. I kind of wanted it to look a bit sleek, but yeah, it's hard. Colour choice is very hard, especially being a painter. Yeah, any colour you want. Yeah, in here, in this booth, in our little plastic murder room as such. This is where we did Anthony's. This is where we did mine. It's no proper body shop up here. This has all been built with a 6-inch yellow rubbing block. We didn't have a proper compressor at the time, so it's all by hand. Every single bit of it is rubbed by hand. No sanders, no nothing. Probably why it took so long. So the wheels I've had for probably 7 years. I bought them off a friend. They needed a lot of refurbing. The lips were absolutely knackered. So I just kept them, just sat them there. And then once this was almost ready, we ordered the new lips from a company called Rims Carnated. I had to wait 12 weeks for them to come because of the sewage blockage. That proper delayed everything. The centre caps, we couldn't find a single set in the UK we ended up finding a guy called Jeff in America, and he had a set, but they cost me $400 plus shipping. Hence why they're not always on the car. Too rare. The wheels are actually 26-year-old Rezac ones, Works Rezac ones, and they're super rare now. The rears are, well, they're both 17s. Fronts are 9.5 inch wide and the rears are 12 inch wide. So we run a 235 on the front and a 275 on the rear, because the rears were the only tyres we could find that weren't 400 quid. So I went with, they're right, the decent Nankan NSRs. The bonnet came from the lad I bought the shell from, which is a Saban dual vent. I think they were about 1,200 quid new and I bought 300 quid. But he'd run a massive top mount turbo on it and it had dried out the carbon as such. It had done some weird stuff to the bonnet, so I refinished it and just got it back to how it should be. You can tell it's old by the kind of colouring on it. It's a bit different than a new bonnet, but I like it. Just to get some cold air, to get the heat from the engine, and it's cool and it's carbon. Everyone likes carbon. Simple as that. I had a boot for it. I had a carbon boot, but it didn't fit as well, so we got rid of that. But then speaking of fitment, there's a lot of bits that Anthony Rowland, he's done me loads of 3D printed bits for it, from like the steering wheel hanger to there's little bits that keep the bonnet just slightly raised, and they're all 3D printed. The headlight brackets are all 3D printed. There's loads of little bits that you forget about, but without them, it wouldn't make the rest of it. So yeah, thank you, Anthony, for all them bits. Big thank you. Saved me making some dodgy brackets out of metal. The interior was the first thing that we did. So the interior is a drift car. It's a cage going through the dash, big holes in the dash. It's not pretty. It's functional. That's all it needs to be. You know, it's still got the door cards and a front carpet, so it kind of still feels like a car, but it is a drift car, and that's what I built it for. So the roll cage came out of, I did British Drift Championship in 2011. I did that for a year, and that cage was in my S14.5, which I then sold to a friend, the whole car to a friend. Spat my dummy out with it and just give up. Sold the car. About 4 years later, he messaged me and said, "I'm taking the cage out, are you interested?" At which point I was building this car. Thought I sod it, yeah. Went up to Ripon and picked it up off Paul. Thank you, Paul. So it's a bit of my own heritage in that car as such. The seats came from a good friend of mine, Paul Davey. Yeah, they came out of his R33. He'd paid I paid a fortune off him for them, but I couldn't find anything I wanted, and I knew they fit absolutely perfect, so I basically begged him to buy them. And and I haven't seen another set since, really. K-Sports they're quite old now, quite retro, I suppose. But yeah, matching seats, harnesses, subframes, they're all K-Sport. So the engine, not massive, it's not really, it's still on a standard ECU really. It's got some aftermarket bits, got an upgraded throttle body, plenum, top mount of the turbo to make it easier for the bigger turbo that's coming. Yeah, the engine's pretty standard really. I spent all my time and pretty much all my money on the rest of it. So that's the future plan, is the engine. Now all the front, all the arms, they're all rose jointed, there's no bushes at all on the front. I'm running driftwork, HSD coilovers, GK Tech lower arms, GK Tech anti-roll bars, basically GK Tech everything. Offset strut tops. Obviously they've all come from Australia, so I had to wait for them. And then when one bit comes, you're like, oh, I need the next bit, because it all links in. So months of waiting, just months of obviously working and trying to get the money to build it. It's cost me an absolute flipping fortune, but it's exactly how I want it. So it's my car, isn't it? It's my baby as such. There's only the standard rear arms on the bottom, everything else is adjustable. So it's pretty horrible to drive on the road. You feel everything, every pebble, cat's eyes feel like a brick. But yeah, it's built for a purpose, you know, and it will serve that purpose. I'd say the biggest achievement with the car is yeah, finishing it. Just getting it on the road and being able to drive it, take it places, show people. I'd say the body kit, because I've always built, you know, made a bumper from one car fit another car, but I've never made it into a thin product, a usable product. It's always just been fat filler and never happy. So building the actual kit and it fitting right, and built it, not bought it, it's because you hear it a lot, don't you? Built, not bought. And now I've had this every single thing off this car, and then put it all back on. So I've built it, and to finish it is a bloody big achievement, because you see so many projects that just sit there, and people won't sell them, and they're just rotting away, and they're just yeah. To finish it is a big achievement, really, and to keep going for 5.5 years, every weekend, pretty much every weekend, it's a massive commitment. But I'd do it again. Yeah, definitely. Plus the amount of stick I've had over the years. Have you finished it yet? Is it finished? Is it ever going to be finished? It's finished. It's out. I'm not a massive fan of shows because I've done it for a long time. So, but I need to take it there because the kit is for sale. I'll be selling the kit to obviously S14 owners. So I need to get it out there. But it's quite cool going to the shows. Get to take it out, and it's all clean and nice and shiny. But at the heart of it, it's a drift car, and it's yeah, it should be on a track. Half of them don't know what it is. They don't know what it is. So many people think it's a Skyline, and it drives me mad. Absolutely drives me mad. It's always the same. Oh, it's a Skyline. It's not a Skyline. It's not. I feel like putting the standard badge back on the back, but kids' reactions are best. Young kids, they're just race car, just shouting it. They don't care, do they? So there's no inhibitions. The kids are the best for the reaction value. Yeah. The first show it went to was an exclusive JDM show over at the Motorist Hub in Leeds, and it won like a BDC choice, best kind of street drift car thing. It was nice to get a little bit of recognition after so much time and effort, but yeah, as I say, I'm not a show guy, so but it was nice. Yeah, it was really nice. And everywhere else it's had so much attention. Obviously from the JDM guys, they love it. It's nice to get some feedback from people, and I always like opinions, whether they're good or bad. I always ask people, what do you think of it? You know, what would you have done different? No, but yeah, again, it's a custom car and I built it for me. So if people don't like it, unlucky. It's mine. Funds, money, because you can't spend everything you've got on a car that you're not going to use for years. I mean, time's your own time, and I was happy to sacrifice it to build it, because it does drag on. You know, there's a couple of times I could have easily burnt it, just pushed it outside and set fire to it, and I'm done with that. But you don't, you just suck it up and get on with it. Time and money, biggest things. But yeah, I'm glad I did it. Definitely glad I did it. Pursued the dream, and just to make what I thought. I had my own body shop for 9 years, building people's drift cars, building their dream cars. But mine was just a chuck together car. It was never my dream car, whereas I've built my dream Nissan now. I think when it was building it, all the time you're building it, you're just building another car. And I think it was the day I was putting the blue on the shell, and I realised this is my car. This isn't a customer's car. This is my own car. I'm actually doing my own car. And then the nerves kick in. You think, shit, how am I going to do this? It's yeah. You're always used to doing other people's cars. Never get to do your own. You never want to do your own because you're too busy. But then when you finally get around to it, it's bloody brilliant. Yeah. I mean, the engine, yeah, needs a bigger turbo. We'll probably have to go inside it because SR20s are not the strongest, are they? So, yeah, bigger turbo, injectors, ECU, the usual route. Yeah, I don't know. Depends how far I want to go with it, really. The next one's a 180SX, so do I get this to a point and think, right, that'll do? Or do I just keep going? I mean, the engine in this might come out and end up going into the 180. Put something else in this, something different maybe. Don't know. With the 180, I want to do that full concourse, as it should have come out of the factory because there's not many left. But if that one gets built nice, then this might end up just being a full-on drift car. I can actually have fun in, without being too precious over it. Because I didn't think I'd be precious when I was building it. Oh, it's a drift car, I'm going to smash it up. No. I am real precious over it now. It's a lot of time, energy. But yeah, it'll never be finished, will it? They're never finished, ever. A fair few bits from Japan, America, Australia. Literally, I'm the guy that beats you on eBay for the part you're wanting to buy. I'm the one sat there at 2 in the morning waiting for that to end because I want that part. It became an obsession at some times where you just you're not sleeping because you're searching for that part. You're just searching for, or a way of doing something. Luckily with these, they've been around for a while now, so I can find anything I need to do on the engine or out like that online. But then some stuff just melts your head. And because you've built it, you've done something wrong, that it's not working right. That's part of the fun of owning them though, isn't it? Top speed on it, I don't know, they do about 140 don't they, these, I think. I'm not about the top speed, I like to slide it, it's fun. Plus it's 70 mile an hour is the speed limit, isn't it? I did build the kit to sell it, so it's an 8-piece kit consisting of the front bumper, rear bumper, side skirts, rear arches, front arches, but you have to buy the full kit because they all match into each other. So one bit of kit won't fit to another of someone else, it has to be my kit. So it's like a little jigsaw that all goes together. But if you're interested in the kit, then my Instagram's KudosBS, and that's where to find me, that's the only place you'll find it. And just DM me and you'll get a kit. I want to sell them, but then there'll be more. There won't just be one of one then, will there? So, but yeah, if anyone's interested in a kit for a 14 or even a 14A, I can modify the kits, no problem at all. Get in touch.